This is the image that is tormenting the White House at dawn today. It is the picture that no amount of messaging, no number of rallies, and no flood of truth social posts can repair. If you examine the live security footage from JFK International in New York, LAX in Los Angeles, and O'Hare in Chicago, you will witness something that contradicts every rule of modern economics. It is a Friday morning in late January. Normally, these terminals are the pulsing core of global trade, crowded with international travelers, corporate leaders, and cargo teams transporting the wealth of nations. Today, they stand deserted. At 6:00 a.m. Eastern Time, a synchronized grassroots movement that began as a joke on TikTok in Europe and then surged through Asian markets has officially reached American soil. The Make America Go Away feeling has evolved from a political chant into a worldwide economic weapon of mass destruction. They are calling it the Great American Boycott. And unlike government sanctions, which require months to arrange and years to take effect, this is striking immediately. The velocity is alarming. International travel reservations to the United States have collapsed by 90% in just the past 24 hours. European dock workers are declining to unload American vessels in Rotterdam and Hamburg. And in a moment that has driven Apple and Tesla shares down another 12% in pre-market trading, Chinese consumers are broadcasting themselves discarding their iPhones in a nationalist spectacle that has gone viral. President Donald Trump, already overwhelmed by the ballroom scandal, the aftermath of the nurse shooting, and the Japanese bond collapse, is said to be panicked. Sources inside the West Wing report that the president understands one thing above all others: the brand. He knows his authority depends on the belief that America is admired across the world, and for the first time ever, the USA brand is poisonous. He is shouting at his trade advisors. He is insisting that the European Union compel their citizens to purchase American products. He is threatening to confiscate foreign assets. But he is learning capitalism's harshest truth. You can coerce a nation into signing a treaty, but you cannot compel a shopper to enter a store. In this sweeping deep dive finale to our week of crisis coverage, we are going to explain the mechanics behind this worldwide boycott. We are going to uncover the secret Zoom meeting between the planet's top 50 CEOs that sealed Trump's fate. We are going to disclose why the president is suddenly scrambling to contact the very leaders he insulted only 48 hours ago. And we are going to examine the BRICS option, the financial nuclear device now being armed in its silo. The world is not merely disregarding America. They are actively erasing us from the global economy. To grasp the panic-gripping Washington, you must consider the speed. Governments move slowly. People move instantly. After the deadly insult tweet in which Trump labeled European leaders vassals and the horrifying leaked footage of Sarah Jenkins being killed in Minneapolis, global opinion snapped. The reservoir of goodwill America accumulated over 75 years evaporated in 75 hours. It began in Denmark after the president threatened to annex Greenland. A viral trend called We're Bye-Bye USA started climbing in Copenhagen. Danish influencers who typically idolize American culture began sharing videos of themselves canceling their Netflix subscriptions. They showed themselves switching from Coca-Cola to local sodas. They recorded themselves canceling their Florida vacations and reserving trips to Spain instead. It spread to France. The French, who have long maintained a love-hate relationship with American power, decided they had had enough. Parisian cafes began hanging handwritten signs in their windows. No American products served here. Clips of French citizens returning Levi's jeans and Nike shoes flooded TikTok. The hashtag Sansa Marie without America surged to the top trend across the Eurozone. Then it reached Asia. In South Korea and Japan, U.S. allies humiliated by Trump's protection racket remarks, the boycott turned corporate. Samsung stores in Seoul launched overnight campaigns offering trade-in deals for iPhones so aggressive they were nearly giving phones away. The marketing slogan, "Switch to stability, switch to respect." Japanese youth who drive Asia's cultural trends started posting videos burning American flags, not out of religious animosity, but cultural revulsion. This is not only about politics, it is about disgust. The footage of Sarah Jenkins dying has been viewed 2 billion times worldwide. To the global audience, purchasing an American product now feels like funding a police state. The cool factor of America, our most powerful export worth more than oil or weapons, is gone. Wall Street analysts are labeling this a reputational black swan. Goldman Sachs just released an emergency note downgrading the entire U.S. consumer discretionary sector to sell. They calculate that if this boycott lasts 1 month, it will strip $500 billion from the U.S. economy. If it persists 3 months, we face a depression that makes 1929 look like a mild adjustment. The most perilous aspect of this boycott is not consumers. It is organized labor. The International Transport Workers Federation, ITF, representing 20 million transport workers worldwide, held an emergency vote yesterday in London. They approved a resolution supporting American nurses and victims of state violence in Minneapolis. The outcome: constructive delays. In Rotterdam, Europe's largest port and the gateway to Germany's industrial core, dock workers are scrutinizing every single container arriving from the United States. Normally, inspections take minutes. They scan the barcode and move on. Now they are opening boxes. They are counting items. They are verifying safety. Inspections are lasting days. American soybeans, American automobiles, American machinery are sitting on the rain-soaked docks of the Netherlands, decaying and corroding. In Vancouver and Montreal, Canadian longshoremen, already furious over lumber tariffs, have joined the stand. They are refusing to load Canadian goods onto U.S.-bound trains. The Canada blockade we discussed on Sunday has now expanded to maritime borders. This is suffocating the U.S. supply chain from the outside inward. Walmart and Target are already warning of empty shelves by next week. Factories across the Rust Belt, Trump's political stronghold, are closing because they cannot receive parts from Europe to assemble their machines and cannot ship finished products to Asia. Trump attempted to intimidate the unions on Truth Social this morning. The lazy European dock workers are playing games. I will ban their ships from U.S. waters. I will seize their cargo. It was a hollow threat. If he bars European ships, the U.S. starves. We import 40% of our medical supplies and high-tech components. The unions understand this. They hold the leverage and they are squeezing the life from his presidency. While the streets are boycotting, the boardrooms are scheming. We have learned from Financial Times leaks that a clandestine video conference occurred yesterday afternoon. The attendees, the CEOs of the Global 50, Unilever, Nestlé, Toyota, Siemens, LVMH, HSBC, and major international banks. The agenda was blunt: de-risking America. For decades, these firms saw the United States as their safe haven. It was where money went when the rest of the world was unstable. Now, they see it as a conflict zone. The call transcript reportedly includes the CEO of a leading German automaker stating, "We cannot depend on a market where the president threatens to seize assets, where the bond market is broken, and where the government shoots nurses. We must pivot immediately to Asia and South America." They agreed on a silent retreat. No press announcements, no dramatic statements that would provoke Trump's fury, just a quiet reallocation of investment capital away from the U.S. Canceling new factories in Ohio, relocating R&D centers to Toronto or London, cutting inventory in American warehouses. This is the capital strike that destroys an economy. It is not a crash. It is suffocation. Trump calls the CEOs globalist traitors, but they are unmoved. They answer to shareholders, and shareholders despise instability. By making America unstable, Trump made America uninvestable. The ultimate irony of the Trump presidency is this: he wanted to construct a wall to keep the world out. Now the world is constructing a wall to keep us in. Multiple nations are issuing travel advisories for the United States, typically reserved for war zones. New Zealand elevated its threat level for the U.S. to high risk, the same category as Turkey or Colombia. They cite civil unrest, arbitrary detention, and the danger of state violence against foreign nationals. Germany warned its citizens, avoid all protests, do not interact with federal law enforcement, medical care may be unavailable due to strikes, Be aware that gun violence is widespread and police response is unpredictable. This is humiliating. The U.S. depends on tourism for 10 million jobs. Florida, Nevada, New York. Their economies survive on visitors. Miami hotels are reporting 80% cancellations for February. Las Vegas casinos are empty. Disney World is deserted. Trump's response has been frantic. He ordered the State Department to issue counter-advisories claiming Europe is dangerous. But no one believes him. They see the nurse video. They see tear gas in the church. They know where the danger lies. Here is the terrifying part. Donald Trump realizes he has gone too far. The fatal insult tweet did not make them submit, it made them leave. Now, confronting an economic depression, he is trying to repair it. Sources say he spent the morning attempting to call Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer. He wants to offer a deal. He is reportedly ready to drop the Greenland demands. He is prepared to lift the tariffs. He simply wants the statement withdrawn. He wants ambassadors to return, but they are not answering. The Élysée Palace in France issued a statement. The president is currently traveling and unavailable. Downing Street in London said, "The Prime Minister stands by the joint statement. There is nothing to discuss until the rhetoric changes." They are ghosting the President of the United States. They know he is desperate. They sense the fear. They are waiting for him to fracture. This is the gray rock method of handling a narcissist. You stop engaging. You stop debating. You simply turn away. And for a man who requires attention like oxygen, this silence is suffocating. The boycott has now reached the one sector Trump needs to keep the stock market alive: big tech. The European Union's threat to deploy the Anti-Coercion Instrument, ACI, has terrified Silicon Valley. If Europe blocks U.S. data transfers, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft cease functioning in Europe. That eliminates 30% of their revenue overnight. Tech CEOs Musk, Zuckerberg, Cook are reportedly in an emergency meeting at the White House right now. But they are not there to support Trump. They are there to deliver an ultimatum. Fix this, or we crash the market. Elon Musk, who played a role in the failed Greenland deal, has reportedly switched sides. He posted a cryptic meme on X this morning. A sinking ship with the caption "Abandon." If Musk turns against Trump, the crypto crowd and the tech right follow. Trump loses his digital army. The tech sector has the capacity to deplatform the entire administration if they choose. They can adjust algorithms. They can bury his posts. And with the EU holding a gun to their head, they may do exactly that. Back on Main Street, panic is spreading. Americans are watching reports of the dock worker blockade. They are flooding stores. Panic buying has begun. Toilet paper, medicine, electronics, car parts. The just-in-time supply chain cannot absorb this. By Monday, shelves will be bare. And when Americans cannot purchase what they need, they blame the president. The Make America Go Away protests are expanding because now even apolitical consumers are furious. They do not care about Greenland. They care that they cannot obtain insulin because it is stranded on a ship in Rotterdam. The boycott has dragged the consequences of Trump's foreign policy straight into American living rooms. There is one final existential danger looming that dwarfs everything else. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are meeting today in an emergency session. They are debating a coordinated decision to abandon the U.S. dollar. For years, this was speculation. Today, it is a survival tactic. With the U.S. economy immobilized by boycotts, the government unstable, and the rule of law collapsing, asset seizures, the dollar appears hazardous. If China and Saudi Arabia choose to price oil in yuan or gold, the dollar collapses, hyperinflation strikes the U.S. Your savings become worthless, your pension disappears. This is the financial nuclear option. And Trump understands it. He is watching the dollar index, DXY, plunge. He knows that if the dollar loses reserve status, America becomes Argentina. We lose superpower standing overnight. We cannot print our way out of debt if no one wants the paper. Reports from insiders describe a president who is physically shrinking. He is not eating. He is pacing. He is fixated on boycott maps displaying red zones across the globe. He keeps asking, "Why do they hate me? I made them rich." He is experiencing narcissistic collapse. Reality, "Everyone despises me," is colliding with his delusion, "Everyone adores me." When this occurs, behavior turns erratic and dangerous. Staff are removing sharp objects. They are restricting his access to the nuclear football. We are witnessing the psychological unraveling of the commander-in-chief. There are 9 million Americans living abroad. They are the boycott's first casualties. They are being denied service in restaurants in Paris and Tokyo. They are being evicted by landlords who do not want Americans. They are overwhelming U.S. embassies seeking help. But the embassies are frozen by the diplomatic shutdown. Trump has deserted his own citizens overseas. Their horror stories are flooding social media, fueling outrage back home. "I cannot buy food in Berlin because my U.S. credit card is being rejected by merchants." This is what it means to be a pariah. This week has transformed everything. We began with a trade war. We concluded with a global quarantine of the United States. The Make America Go Away movement has succeeded. America has gone away. We are isolated, bankrupt, and enraged. The boycott proves that in 2026 you cannot rule by fear because eventually the world stops being afraid and starts organizing. The consumers of the world have fired Donald Trump. Now we wait to see whether American voters will do the same. Subscribe. This concludes our special coverage week. But the story is not finished. Monday is coming, and the markets open at 9:30 a.m. God help us all. Let's examine why Trump cannot litigate his escape. Normally, the WTO, World Trade Organization, prevents nations from blocking goods. But this is not a government ban. It is a consumer boycott. The WTO cannot compel a French teenager to purchase Nikes. The WTO cannot force a Dutch dockworker to labor faster. This is asymmetric economic warfare. It circumvents all treaties. It exploits market freedom to demolish the market. Trump's attorneys are hunting for a loophole, but none exists. You cannot sue the zeitgeist. Marketing experts are calling this the Bud Light moment for an entire nation. Once a brand turns toxic, recovery takes decades. Made in USA once symbolized quality and liberty. Now, due to leaked videos and tweets, it represents chaos and violence. Foreign firms are actively removing U.S. flags from packaging to avoid the boycott. This devastates our exports for a generation. Even if Trump departs tomorrow, the stain remains. We must rebuild our reputation from nothing. The soft power deficit now exceeds the budget deficit. California and New York are opening independent diplomatic channels. Governor Newsom or his successor is communicating directly with the EU. Don't boycott California wine. We hate him too. We are witnessing the fragmentation of U.S. foreign policy. States are negotiating their own deals to survive the boycott. This marks the beginning of the end of the federal union. If Washington cannot safeguard trade, the states will do it themselves. The massive boycott is the invisible army Trump cannot bomb and cannot arrest. It is the power of the purse, and the purse is closed. Stay safe, stay liquid, and prepare for a very different future. Breaking news tonight as tensions in the Middle East sharply escalate. The U.S. president has confirmed that a major American naval fleet is heading toward the region near Iran, calling it a powerful deterrent amid rising threats and instability. The president emphasized that while America does not seek war, it will not hesitate to defend its interests and allies. This announcement comes in response to recent attacks by Iran-aligned forces that have disrupted international trade. Pentagon sources say the deployment includes an aircraft carrier strike group and advanced fighter jets, aimed at deterrence and regional stability. Iran has warned that any direct attack would be met with a severe response, with Iranian media framing the U.S. buildup as psychological pressure. Diplomatic channels remain active, with U.S. allies urging restraint as the situation develops. The world is watching closely to see whether this show of force leads to de-escalation or conflict.